today's United Kingdom Talk. Chris Reardon here for the next hour. Hope you're well. Lots of emails to do today, and we're going to get straight onto those as quickly as possible, but not too quickly, because I am a concerned uncle today, a very concerned uncle, okay? Because my nephew, what is he now, 23 or 24, my nephew has just informed me he passed a theory test. Now, I kind of wondered to myself, a theory test for what? Because he already drives a car. He's passed a theory test to drive a motorbike. And now I'm all concerned that my nephew's going to go on the road at speeds only comparable to the speeds of the USS Enterprise. To space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to seek out new life, to explore new places, to boldly go where no one has gone before. And then my nephew will be seen whoosh on his motorbike going far too fast, and I'm all concerned now. I'm all concerned. Terrible, isn't it? Anyway, you can't stop him, can you? I suppose. Is it pointless ringing him up and saying, be careful? Is that pointless? Does it... I don't know. There's been occasions, I suppose, when caring people have said to me, even now, sometimes certainly on Friday night, when I drive down to Brighton, if it's a bit wet or something like that, they say, oh, drive carefully. And it's a nice, isn't it? It's a nice thing to say. But does it make you drive any more careful? Or do you think, oh, here he goes again, you know? I don't know, so I'm all concerned now. What about you? Have you got any children who have just started driving motorbikes or anything fast like that? It does worry me. So he told me he was going to get a Yamaha or something like that. I don't know what they are. Do you know what? I've never, ever been on a motorbike. That surprised you, isn't it? Eh? I've never, ever been on a motorbike. You know, I live in the hope that one day this fit lad's going to come and knock on my door. All right, mate, do you fancy getting on my bike? Oh, I've come over all hot now. Oh, dear. Oh, my word. But I do worry. Now, maybe Brian in Ontario, in Canada, Ontario. Is it on? Oh, hang on. Where is it? Actually, I don't. Have I got an email from you here, Brian? I thought you sent something in recently, or have we already done? We might have already done it. I'm in a world on my own, as you know. Oh, I think we did it. Brian in Canada. Now, you're a motorcyclist, aren't you? A keen motorcyclist. And I wonder, have you got any advice for me to give to my nephew that he won't take in a... Oh, how can you put it? In that way that kids listen to adults. You know? Although he's 24, I mean, he's hardly a child, is he? But to me, he still is, you see. He's still that 7-year-old boy that I used to take to the cinema now and again and things like that. The same as I do with the 11-year-old now. You know, with his brother, Jimmy. Have you got any advice that I could kind of give to Gary so that he won't feel he's being kind of told what to do? I'd really appreciate that, because I'm really concerned. His dad has always driven a motorbike. He used to take Gary's dad used to take my sister out for rides on the bike. God knows what they got up to, but that's perhaps for a different sort of show. But, but Brian, any advice that I could give to my nephew that he won't take as a sort of insult? You know when you like tell someone something and you kind of think to yourself, why did he tell me that? I know that already. You know the sort of thing I do. I'd really appreciate that. It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, the email address, okay? chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Lovely to be back out here in the garden again. The time of recording the show today, rather than me doing it late morning, I'm actually, it's sort of mid-afternoon for me, and there is a school quite nearby, and in about half an hour, 40 minutes, sort of 3/4 of the way through this show, the children will be coming out and probably walking past the back of the fence, so there might be a bit of noise at that point. which I did. I sort of thought to myself, oh, shall I wait till that's finished? And then it's all a bit late, and then I'll be a bit tired. So much better for me to be fresh and youthful while I'm doing this, okay? So when the kids walk past, I apologise in advance. I hope there's no swearing going on. Is that? I think it's a primary school. I think it's a primary school. It's just not far from me at all. All right. Let's see now. Oh yes. One other thing. I had a little meeting a few days ago. Oh yes. A little meeting. Last week I got an email. It was more like a begging email, to be honest. A begging email from James Dean of the matineeshow.co.uk. You know James Dean? Yes, I mean he tells everyone he's a friend of mine. I kind of try and keep him at arm's length, to be honest. But I did have a little meeting with him on Sunday. There was a begging letter last week saying, oh, I'm coming to London. Please, please, will you meet me and have a cup of tea? I thought, oh, God, you know. He probably, you know, just wanted to get his camera out and take another picture of me being an international, global celebrity of himself and myself for a little addition to his little website that he does, you know. So I thought, oh, I suppose I better go, otherwise you never hear the end of it. Otherwise he'd be saying bad things about me on his little show. So Sunday, it was Sunday, yes, I went down to Leicester Square in London at the time, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm usually asleep. Because, you know, I always have 2 hours sleep in the afternoon. Well, I gave up my sleep just to meet sad little James Dean. Anyway, he was actually in Leicester Square to do interviews with people. They were doing this big concert, a free concert in the middle of Leicester Square, where they had people from the different theatres all around the area, and they would come on and do one number from their show. Actually, come to think of it, I don't know who was on it. Christopher Biggins was hosting it. He was on the stage. Actually, you know, you'd expect these people to be in suits. He was in a pair of old shirts and a T-shirt. Or a shirt like this. I mean, honestly, you'd expect somebody. I mean, I make the effort now, as you know. People who have been watching this show for a long time will know I used to sit here in an old scruffy T-shirt and everything. Now I make the effort. I now iron my shirts before I come on. All right? Although I'm not going to lie to you, okay? I'm not going to lie to you. I don't usually bother with the bottom half. Because you can't see that. Oh, I've got itchy ears now. You can't see that, can you? You can't see the bottom half. But they are indeed, yes, my trusty old pair of blue tracksuit bottoms. These are my favourite pair. Oh yeah, they can go for weeks and weeks and not be washed, these. It's true. Anyway, so I got in my car and drove down to Leicester Square, parked very easily because it was actually a Sunday. Now, I actually don't recommend anyone who comes to London to drive around. Okay, take the buses and the tubes everywhere. The system is pretty good, okay? Buses and tubes everywhere. Don't drive to London. However, I did drive to London on this day because I was working afterwards and I had all my stuff in the boot of the car. So I found somewhere to park along Piccadilly, because you can actually park. And that's a main road in London. Always surprises me that you are actually allowed to park on Piccadilly at certain times. It surprises me. I expected that to be a red route. I'm sure they will make it that at some point. A red route, incidentally, if you're outside the UK, is double red lines, and you cannot stop at any time. Not even to let anyone out the car, as I found out a few weeks ago when I got a blooming parking ticket, as taken by a camera. Oh, it's a liberty, it is. It really is. So I got to Leicester Square, parked the car, and I was about 20 minutes walk away from Leicester Square. So I started walking down Piccadilly, which was very, very busy. All these people in these coffee shops being ripped off £2 for a cup of coffee. I mean, someone told me how much Starbucks charged for a cup of coffee the other day. It's shocking. So I can't believe anyone that you spend it. I really don't understand people who go into any of these coffee shops and spend £2 on a blooming drink. I mean, I don't drink coffee anyway. I am a great tea drinker, as you know. Oh, by the way, there is a Whittards of Chelsea in Piccadilly. So I thought, just before I left Leicester Square, I thought to save money, I'd be able to, save money on the postage, because last time I had them delivered, I thought I'd be able to pop into Whittards of Chelsea in Piccadilly and buy my tea bags. Can you believe they must have had every brand, every make, every type in there, and of course, come to mine, they've run out. You can't win, can you? You try and save money, dear, you can't win. Anyway, so I'm walking down Piccadilly, got to Leicester Square, and then picked up the phone. I'm dialing away, oh, it's gone to. It said waiting. What a cheek! How dare he put me on waiting? Now the reason I went on waiting was because he was actually doing a show from Leicester Square. No, nothing elaborate. Don't get me wrong here. Don't expect he's turned up at Leicester Square in a big van with all equipment in it and all that business. Oh no, dear. He's on a mobile phone. He's on a mobile phone back to the studio, and then Madam Mary's, who's his co-host, she's all doing all the bits and pieces with another guy who I've spoken to a few times. Very nice chap called Mark. Up there at Thameside in Manchester, they're putting the show together up there. James Dean is apparently standing in the middle of Leicester Square talking on a mobile phone. Oh well, whatever floats your boat, dear. So eventually I walked around, and eventually he answered the phone, and I said, "Where are you?" And guess where he was? Oh, it's very sad. It really is. He was standing outside of Capital Radio. Now, Capital Radio in London is like the big commercial station for London, if not the UK. I mean, it is for London. It's the one with all the money, or at least they used to have all the money. Now, so I said, okay, then I thought this is going to be funny, seeing him standing outside Capital Radio doing his show for Thameside. Anyway, eventually I walked round the corner and I spotted him. I could see him, but he has his back turned to me. You can spot James Dean a mile off because he's about 6 foot, 6'6" tall, and he's got masses of blonde hair. Which actually I don't think is his natural colour, to be honest. I honestly don't think it's his natural colour, but I don't know. But I mean, all I do know is that it needs a good cut. I mean, who on earth styles his hair? I think he's still going round to his mother's house, to be honest, and having it done, with one of those bowls. I reckon that's what's happening. Anyway, so I saw him, and it was kind of, this lad, and he was crouched underneath the Capital Radio sign. Probably hoping desperately that one day he will actually get a job there. But I'm not so sure, James, that you'll like it, dear. I mean, you'll be told what to do, you'll be told what to say, when to say it and when to play it. Is that you? I don't think it is. My mate actually had a job there. Matt, his name is. I'd be going back about 6 years now, and he had always wanted to work at a big independent local radio station, and he started working there. And I kept in contact with him by phone a few times, and very soon after he'd started the job, he felt really quite disheartened because of the way some of these independent stations run. It's not like this show. I mean, this show, I do it, and then I offer it to whoever wants it, and they either take it or they don't. With a big station like that, they're telling you what records to play. They're not telling you word for word what to say, but near enough. And when to say it, and how long you've got to speak. I mean, how is that fun? It's not fun, is it? And my friend Matt was very disheartened very shortly after he started work at that place. But now I gather I think he's up north somewhere on a smaller station, and he's very happy. He has a free hand. You need to be creative, don't you? You need to be creative when you're doing this stuff. And if someone's stopping you being creative, as has happened to me many times in jobs, it's very annoying when you're trying to be creative and someone at the top with the money says, no, you can't do that. On the other hand, sometimes you do need someone to perhaps give you an opinion that is different to your own, if you see what I mean. So there we are. So met James Dean. As soon as he saw me, he was at the last part of his programme. He allowed me to say hello quickly. I mean, he basically ignored me, to be honest, as I stood there until he'd finished his show. What a cheek. Turned his back on me a couple of times. Oh, it's shocking, dear. Shocking. Anyway, after that, you know, I let that go past me. I wasn't, you know, didn't want to upset the apple cart at all. I've got a really itchy nose now. Does that mean it's money, or is that someone talking about me? Itchy nose, itchy ear. Everything's itching today. I mean, it wonders what you pick up, doesn't it? What have I picked up? Oh, I never thought of that, because I have just been swimming, you know. I hope I haven't got some sort of insects growing up my nose or something like that. Eh? So I said to him, well, do you fancy something to eat? He said, yeah. I said, oh, what about TGI Fridays? Because I saw one of those just down the road. He said, yeah, we'll go there. I said, I'll buy. And he says, oh, no, you don't have to do that. I said, I do. I mean, I looked at him, you know, in these old rags that he wears. I mean, it's very sad, really. The boy hasn't got 2 pennies to rub together. I mean, I gather that the Blue Peter appeal this year is going to be to raise money for new clothes for James Dean and new teeth for Madam Aries. Now, if you've just started listening today, you're wondering what I'm talking about. I'm talking about my dear friend James Dean, who does another podcast, which you can find at matineeshow.co.uk. All right, matineeshow.co.uk. Download whenever you want. That's what I'm shouting about at the moment, because I met him at the weekend. So we went to TGI Fridays, straight in, and sat down immediately. And it's all right, you know, TGI Fridays. Not particularly cheap, but the last time I went in there was a long time ago. So I said, well, have whatever you want. He says, oh, thanks very much. You know, didn't need to be asked twice, did he? God's sake. So I'm looking at the menu, and then when I looked up again, I thought to myself, where's the knives and forks gone? And the salt and pepper pots? And I saw him shuffling around with his bag next to me. I said, where's all the cutlery gone? And he winked at me, shh. Well, I mean, it's shocking, isn't it? These people from Manchester, you've got to nail everything down. I quickly made sure that I had my mobile phone and everything in my pocket. Oh, it's absolutely shocking, dear. And then I looked up again and the menu was gone, and I thought, what does he want that for? And I suddenly realised that a waiter had come across, a very good-looking waiter, if you don't mind me saying so, had come up and picked up the menus and says, can I help you, sir? I said, yes, I'd like one of those ultimate cheeseburgers, please, and some chips on the side. So here we go. Bless me, Suko, for I have sinned. I had burger and chips in TJ, was it TJ? Is it TG or TJ? I don't know, TGI, TG, I think it is. TGI Fridays. All right, Suko? I have to tell you. Oh, and also, Suko, today I did have 2 pasties, but one was a vegetable one. So does that count? One was a vegetable one, and one was a cheese and onion one, okay? So we ordered that, and off the bloke went, and he brought the Coca-Colas over. And then I said, do you want something now while we're waiting? So I then ordered 2 pieces of, now wait for it, don't jump to it here, Suko, because it's a bit more to tell you yet. I did order 2 bits of garlic bread with cheese on the top, and a little thing of a little bowl of onion rings. That was it. So off the man went. You know, it's quite nice, the waiter, and I watched him as he sort of, you know, walked back or whatever. Am I terrible? So I was sitting there waiting, and then very soon the burger and chips arrived, and I thought, oh, yeah, well, we haven't had the starters yet, have we? Anyway, so we ploughed through the burger, which it was actually much larger than I expected. I think it was about, how much was it now? It was about, altogether it was about £24 for the 2 of us, and I felt I got value for money. You know, the burger was big. It was very big. Of course, so I've eaten the burger and the chips. I'm feeling stuffed now, and this other stuff hasn't arrived. James, on the other hand, you know, was ready to order more. I mean, he eats so much. I'm only joking. He only ate half of his. I don't think he was hungry. He was obviously trying to watch his weight. I mean, I looked him up and down, and quite honestly, I think he needs to watch it a little bit more. But, you know, he left half of his. And at this point, the other stuff hadn't arrived. So I was able to cancel that and not get charged. Because I then called the girl over. I says, well, we're still waiting for our stuff, but in all honesty, you know, we can't wait any longer, so we're going to have to go and I'll cancel that. Oh, I'm very sorry about the delay. I'll make sure that's not on the bill. So the bill came over, and I paid it, you know. And off we went, and we had a little walk up to up Regent Street, which is very, very near Leicester Square. At some of the shops, a lot of shops open there. Oh, and the prices of some of the stuff. There was this shop, right, and they had dresses. I mean, I'm just trying to think of the name of the shop now. Oh, I can't remember. Can't remember the name of the shop. Anyway, but it had dresses in there, and quite honestly, they didn't look much different to what they do in Primark or Matalan, places like that, you know, where people like I shop. We don't like to spend money on clothes. Some of these dresses were nearly to £1,800, this dress was. For a bit of material, dear. £1,800 for a dress. Yeah? And then they had some shirts, men's shirts, you know. Special offer, 2 for £120. You're having a laugh, ain't you? 60 quid for a shirt. People are off their heads. I swear, people are off their heads. They are mad spending that amount on clothes. So we went up there a little bit more and then come back down again. By the time we come back down, it was time for him to get his train home. And so we said goodbye, and off he went. So, I mean, quite an enjoyable afternoon. I suppose I have to admit it. You know, it was. Was it nice to see him? Oh, I suppose so. You know, expensive. Expensive. Oh, he had no intention of putting his hand in his pocket at any time. I'm telling you that now. And of course, off he went with all the cutlery and all the salt and pepper pots and the menus and everything else. I mean, I did spot him trying to remove the table. That's what these people from there are like. Manchester. Don't ever go to Manchester. Oh my God, no. It's all being stolen before your eyes. He said, why don't you drive there? I said, you're having a laugh. I want to leave my car parked anywhere in Manchester. He said, it's all right in the posh bit. I said, what posh bit? What posh bit? So I then walked back to the car, past what used to be Tower Records. Tower Records used to be right bang in the centre of Piccadilly, and it's gone. So I don't know when that closed down. I used to religiously go to Tower Records once a week. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, not recently now because it's all downloads, but religiously I would go to Tower Records once a week. By car, or I think I might have even cycled up there at one point years ago. It was great. So there was just everything in there. It's gone. It's gone, replaced by looked like some sort of actually I don't know what it was. They had books and music and everything in there. I think it was Zaggy or something like that. Zany. Can't remember the name of the shop. Never heard of it before. But I don't know when Tower Records disappeared in Piccadilly. That was a bit of a shock to me. So quite a nice day. Got back in the car and off I went home. Not off I went. Off I went to work. Worked till 2 o'clock and then back home. It's been a bit of a busy week really for me. So I don't suppose James will watch this, dear. You know, I mean, I think quite honestly, he might be having his electricity cut off soon. It's all very. He's never got any money. Never got any money. I don't know where it all goes. What, on food? I think. All right. So that was my little weekend. Quite pleasant. Quite pleasant. Now, on to some emails then. First of all, quick one here from Toby. Hello, Toby, and he says, hi, Chris, this is Toby, 25, listening to your show for a long time. He says, I've sent you an email once. Yes, I remember, Toby. Don't you? We never forget names. We forget areas. I forget areas. Now, so although I remember you straight away, there's not many Tobys, you know. Although I remember the name straight away, Toby, I'm not sure where you are. Can't remember where you are, so tell me again where you are. He says, I hope you haven't forgotten me. No, absolutely not. Do not fear. Chris doesn't forget, all right? I hope you don't mind me correcting you, he said, but pouffe, you know that thing that you put your feet on, like pouffe, is pronounced like poof, not pouffe. Thanks for your entertainment and amusement from Toby. Thank you for correcting me, Toby. As I say before, I mean, a lot of my closer friends, they do know I do like a little bit of correction now and again, and indeed you've given it to me on this show, so thank you very much for that. Toby, I can't remember where you are. I honestly can't remember where you are. Let me know, all right? Email address to the show is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, I'm looking around for an email here from Carl, because we didn't finish it, weren't it? It was here a minute ago. I did put all these in order a second ago. Wait a minute. Where is these? Oh, that could be it. No. I've got that bit. That's half of it. Oh, is that it there? Hang on. There it is. There it is. It's our mate Carl in Yorkshire. Hello, Carl, all right? We got sort of 3/4 of the way through his email on the end of the last show, but didn't quite finish it off. And I wanted to go back over one of his points here, we were talking about benefits on an earlier show. I know this is a few shows away now. That's all because everything's recorded a week in advance. But remember, that will change soon. Okay, come sort of end of July, the show will only be a day or two old when you see it, or indeed listen to it. Okay, we will be much more current, and that's how it is. Carl says, you were talking about benefits on an earlier show. The thing is that it's not just about the money one receives in your pocket, as it were, that is the fortnightly cash payments. He says people also get their rent and council tax paid too. So, of course, any job people get has to cover all these. He says, I know someone whose outgoings are £180 a week. By that, I'm guessing he means rent, food... would it be food? I don't know. Yeah, must be. His total outgoings, £180 a week. Rent, food, council tax and all that. He says, so that is the figure that someone must earn to make any job worth taking over benefits. Yes, I see where you're coming from there. But the point is, it's people like myself that are keeping people unemployed afloat. What do I get out of it? Is it wrong to think like that? Is it wrong to think... how many people feel like that, I wonder? It annoys me when people are out of work for months, years, not really looking for other jobs, but perhaps finding time to do other bits and pieces and things like that. I'm not so annoyed really when people are doing a job and perhaps having the money topped up by some sort of benefit or like that. What annoys me is when people, they don't want to work because they're better on benefits, but that's costing me money. We're all paying for that. Is that fair? Is that fair? I get kids come up to me in nightclubs quite often, and I say, are you working? Oh yeah. And they hold their heads down and they say, yeah, I've got a job. Well, what do you do? And I say, oh, it's only McDonald's. And I'm like, well, good. And then they look up and say, what do you mean good? It's only McDonald's. Yes, but you're working. You're not taking anything from anyone. There are people who are unemployed for good reasons. They are very ill, or they have some sort of disability. As I said in the other show, there are also people who say they have a disability and say there's nothing wrong. But I don't go along with people who won't get a job because they are, quote, better off on benefits. It's not fair to everyone else. It really isn't. You must see that. Anyone else? Thoughts on that, please? Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Everyone who is able to should go and do a job. If I had my way, there'd be no benefits. There'd be no benefits, and there would be strict tests to see exactly who has got a bad back and who hasn't. Because there's plenty of those around. How many people does any of you listening or watching today, how many of you know someone who's claiming they're on the sick and there is nothing wrong with them? There are certain diseases, certain blood, I know of one in particular, a certain blood disease, okay, that I personally know a lot of people have got, and they give up the jobs, and they go on benefits, and that's it, they never work again. But actually, there's nothing wrong. Apart from this thing that's growing away inside of them, for some of them it doesn't affect them at all. For a lot of them, it doesn't affect them at all. But they're all claiming the benefits. Not all, some. A lot. Claiming benefits is not fair to the people who are out there, like me, working and paying tax to keep people from not working. Because they're either too lazy or, quote, they are better off on benefits. It's not fair to the rest of the population. That's my thoughts on that. All right? Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk is the email address. Now, Carl also says, public transport around here. Very pleased to see that you use public transport. Incidentally, Carl, don't know if you saw in the news recently, but according to certain surveys, people are now driving less. Traffic, I believe, here where I live here in Berkshire is down, according to Traffic Master, which is like the little things what measure road speed. It's down 14% since oil started going up. Now, I wonder how many people now actually think that maybe the price of oil going up isn't such a bad thing after all. Because if you're green, if you're really green, you should be doing everything you can possible to not use fossil fuels and to recycle. Have you recently found a new way to get to work? Tell me about it. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Is it more fun? Eh? How many people listening or watching today have started cycling to work and actually enjoy it? I love it. I love my bike. I've had a bike since I was about 7 years old. Have always cycled wherever I can instead of take the car. And I go out in the rain as well. If it's raining, I've got the wetsuit and what have you. Great way to get around, bikes. I mean, it's too far for me to cycle to London and back every night. I don't have much choice there. I have to get the car to and from work. I can't do it by train. I've also got a load of stuff to carry around. But certainly during the daytime, the car never comes out of the garage. Very, very rarely. Only if I'm going into town to buy a load of things. If I'm just going to the supermarket, then I'll take the bike, or I'll walk. And according to survey, less people are now driving because of the oil prices. So surely that's a good thing, isn't it? What I don't think's fair is that people with all the money driving the 4x4s, it doesn't affect them, does it? They just continue to buy it. And that's a bit unfair. Yeah, Carl says, public transport around here, North Yorkshire in the UK, is very good. There are 4 buses an hour on my route into Knaresborough and twice as many there to Harrogate. I can get a local day ticket for just £3, which isn't bad, I suppose. I bet it would cost more than that to run a car around the same area. Yeah, I mean, that's great, Carl, that you use... I know you haven't got a car, have you? But using public transport. I wonder if you've got a bicycle at all? Have you ever thought about taking a bicycle, getting a bicycle? Because £3, well, £3, I don't know how many times you go into town. But if it's £3 for a local day ticket, which is cheap, don't get me wrong, but you pay for a bike fairly quickly if you used it all the time. It doesn't take long at all. But public transport, I think, in general here in the UK, other people would argue, certainly at peak rush hours and times like that, when you're looking for a bus or something like that, there's a lot of people waiting, it's difficult then. But if you travel off peak, if you can at all travel off peak, then I find public transport as well, Carl, very good. I think I've already mentioned a couple of times that if I ever go to London during the daytime, I always take the train. It's a nightmare driving in London. Let me just have a sip of water during the daytime. So I always take the train, and it's all very pleasant. Come on, who else? Get on your bikes. Who's walking to work now? Or cycling instead of taking the car? Funny thing is, of course, now that oil's gone up, there are less people driving. It's been proved on the by the traffic master people. We're now trying to get the price of oil to come down again. Is it maybe better to leave it high because it's put people off driving? Think about that one. I know it might be more inconvenient for some people. Me personally, it's made no difference to me because I have to go to work by car. End of story. It's quite annoying sometimes when you see these people on the television and on the radio suggesting ways. Whenever the price of fuel goes up, they suggest ways of how you can save petrol, diesel, electricity, water, whatever. But I'm already doing all these things. There's not. I don't think there's anything else I can do now, other than maybe put another couple of solar panels up, and use a kind of different method. What I might do is get another couple of solar panels, put them on the roof of the shed, have them charging at a battery so as to take some of my appliances off the ring main and use it on the battery. I might do that at some point, but it's quite a costly exercise. People were laughing at me when I told them that I spent quite a lot of money having the solar panels put up nearly 2 years ago now. They're not laughing so hard now when I tell them my electricity bill is about £13 a month over the year. And people with one bedroom flats are paying £40, £50, £60 a month. So it does work. It does work, okay? Right, some emails then. Hello to Roger. It's our mate Roger, who sent this in on the 19th of June, who says, "Hi Chris, love the show on the 18th of June. It is hard to comment on everything you talk about as there is quite a range." Oh yeah, got to keep everyone interested. Got to keep everyone interested, mate. Regarding you quitting your job, a good friend told me to remember that you are right where you are supposed to be. Who knows what breaks tomorrow, and good luck is around the corner. United Kingdom talk could be your big ticket to stardom. Well, stardom, Roger, doesn't really interest me. I can't explain really. I just like to chat to people. That's what I do. You're there, I'm here. She's over there, he's over there. You know, young and old. Look at the different range of ages we have of people who join into this show. We've got Michael and Joe, two 18-year-old lads in South London. And we got Joy in Acton, 82 years old. And Estelle in America, 88 years old. And we all talk to each other via this show. And that's what I like doing. The whole stardom thing, would I want to walk on a big stage with loads of flash? Well, I mean, I kind of do that when I'm DJing now and doing the bingo and that sort of thing. My own chat show on the television, would I like that? I don't know. Don't know if I could do it. You might think that sounds really silly because I'm sitting here really doing it now, but, you know, something like the BBC or something like that, I don't know if I'm suited to do that. I'm probably a little bit too down in the gutter to be able to do something like that. But, yeah, I've said before, Australia has always appealed to me. If someone from Australia, hello, would you like to come move here and do a chat show, we'll pay you, then I'd take the job. Absolutely. No question about it. Probably the States as well, probably America as well. Where in America? Don't think it matters, really. Don't think it matters at all. Yeah, I would. I would take a job, radio or maybe the video side of things, in another country if wages were offered, yeah, and then I could live like that. But stardom, no, doesn't really bother me that much. Doesn't bother me. He says, if not, you can always... Oh, look, here we are. If not, you can always come to America and be my houseboy. You look great in a towel. Beg pardon? I'm a bit old to be a houseboy, aren't I? I'm not very good with housework, I have to warn you that now. Dusting and cleaning ovens and things like this, not me at all. Really not very good at that. I'm just looking at the clock. I reckon the children are going to come out from the school shortly, so you might hear some noises as walking past the back of the fence there, okay? Roger says, I was poking around on your MySpace thing and looked through all your pictures. Thanks for sharing. What did we do before computers? Yeah, isn't it great that we're able to share pictures? I mean, we don't always like to look through loads and loads of things all the time, but now and again when you've got a bored moment, it's quite nice to go on the computer and just look at pictures. I like to look at pictures of scenery. I like beautiful scenery, forests, the sea, mountains, that sort of thing. They're the sort of pictures that appeal to me. Other people like people pictures, you know, where you see different peoples and that. I quite like the pictures of China pictures. And the Chinese people, you know, those, I don't know what those hats are called. Suko, you might know. What are those hats called that the Chinese people wear? And they're almost like a little roof on your head. Is there a name for those? There's some beautiful, beautiful clothes that they've got. I do have a lot more pictures, Roger. I don't know if you know, but I do have 2 very large galleries. And what I've got on there is all the pictures that I've ever... that I have in my possession. I digitalised them a few years ago now, actually, and they're all online. Pictures of my mum and dad, family, friends, me throughout the years, all that sort of thing. If you want to find those, then go to my main website, which is at chrisreardon.co.uk, okay? Chris Reardon, CHRISREARDON.co.uk, chrisreardon.co.uk. On the left-hand side, you'll see Gallery 1 and Gallery 2, and just if you've got a few hours to spare, have a flick through those if you want to. All right, Roger, I don't think you've sent me a picture of you yet, have you? Come on, send it through. I have met so many people on MySpace from all over the globe. Yeah, me too. It's great, isn't it? Your car caught my eye, and I wonder if you take it off-road riding. Is it an English-made car or some kind of Land Rover? It looks really butch. He says, I don't know if I could ever get used to driving on the wrong side of the road or not. Well, you must have seen one of the old cars. That is, I'm guessing that you've seen the Land Rover. Was it the red one? I've actually had 3 of those over the years. There was a red one, then there was a blue one, and then there was a silver one. I don't have a Land Rover anymore because they are too darn expensive to run. They cost a fortune to run. Not only the price of the diesel, but the actual general maintenance of them and the servicing. If you take it to a dealer, I'm sure there are people at the moment who do all the servicing and everything themselves, but I'm not that way inclined, I'm afraid. I could probably learn to service a car, but I always took it to the Land Rover dealer, and it is very, very expensive to run a Land Rover. And in the end, I got rid of it, and I now have a Toyota Aygo, which is a little bit more pussy-ish. Okay, it's a little pussy car, Toyota Aygo. Roger wants to know, if you're driving a standard shift, what is that then, a standard shift? Do you shift with your left hand? Oh, you mean a gear stick? Is a shift a gear? You mean 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, yeah? And reverse. That's a shift, isn't it? Yeah, American term. If you're driving a standard shift, do you shift with your left hand? Yes, you do. Where are the gas pedals? The gas pedals are on the right. Okay, so in a right-hand drive car, which is what we've got here in the UK, we drive on the left, but we sit on the right of the car. Right, so you've got your steering wheel in the middle, and the pedals are kind of on the right-hand side, is worked with your right foot, and the clutch pedal is worked with your left foot, and the stick shift, the gear stick, is on your left. And that's how it works, alright? Funny, I bet you'd have trouble doing that, wouldn't you? If you've always... Have you got a shift car yourself? Or, I thought everyone in America had automatic cars. Whenever I've gone to Florida a couple of times, I've had a car there, and we always had automatic cars. There was no gear stick or anything like that. He says, I mean, do you use the left foot for the gas and the right foot for the brake and clutch? Oh, no. Oh, I see. No. Far right, on the right-hand side, is the... What are you calling it? Is the accelerator. The gas pedal is on the right, okay? In the middle is the brake pedal. Okay, so you use your right leg for those two, and on the left is the clutch, and you use your left leg for that. So left leg for clutch, right leg or right foot for gas and brake. All right. He says, I have trouble chewing gum and walking, so I don't know. There's no hope for you, Roger. Thanks again for showing the countryside. Somehow I think of England of being big cities with smokestacks, asphalt jungles and poor Oliver Twists. Outreached hands. Please, may I have some more? Kidding. Until next time, have fun. And that's from Roger. Thank you very much for that, Roger. Great email there. Well, there's plenty of towns and cities here in the UK. I like the open country now. I went to New York. Oh, when was the last time I went there? I think 2002. I think it was 2002 the last time I went to New York. And a week was long enough because of all the buildings. It's all buildings, isn't it? It's not really me. I like the open countryside. Florida I quite like. Florida, that's fairly open, isn't it? Again, I always talk about Australia, well, I mean, even Canberra, which is the main part of Australia, around Canberra is beautiful countryside. Beautiful, beautiful countryside. Thanks for that, Roger. Hello to Robert. It's our mate Robert, who writes 2 emails today. Who says, just a quick line to cover the flashing icons and this defragging of hard drives. He says, well, one of my jobs in the past was as tech support, and it's my opinion, he says, that is my opinion, and I put it no stronger than that. Defragging a hard drive, Robert is saying, is not worth the time. This is interesting. I say this because in the old days, drives like MFM and IDE drives were a bit slow. Now, you've lost me already, to be honest, Robert. I don't know what you're saying there, but I am assuming, of course, it's some sort of hard drive for the computer. Joy, a hard drive for the computer is like a big chest of drawers where you store all the information. All right? Robert says, but the pickup time for these hard drives is such now that I don't think you get that much, if any, increase in speed. The flashing icons, well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said the machine was doing something. Did you notice that the hard drive light flashed around at this time? No, I didn't, to be honest, because the main computer upstairs is underneath a desk. It could be that the computer is just doing some housekeeping and basically swapping out to the hard drive stuff in memory that is not needed right at this moment in time. It's called virtual memory. This means while it's doing its housekeeping, the system is, well, busy. I've long since learned to avoid making absolute statements, and therefore this is nothing but an informed opinion. Thought you might like a picture of a grand Icelandic day. What do you think of the plane I have managed to purchase for Reardon Airways? She is a beauty and flies like a homesick angel. That's from Bob the Viking. Bob, of course, in Iceland. And he sends me a beautiful, beautiful picture of a big red plane. Beautiful. Lovely. Do you fly, Bob? Have you already told me this? I can't remember now. Do you actually fly? Can you fly? Fantastic. Look at that beautiful, beautiful plane. I'm always awe-stricken sometimes because one of my jobs each week takes me past Heathrow Airport on the main road, the M25, and quite often planes are coming down, and they're very low, almost touching the roof of your car, because they are coming in there. And I'm just struck by the beauty of these machines that flies through the air. Robert also sent this in a separate email, and he says, on the subject of crime punishment, do you remember we were saying that maybe we should chop people's hands off and things like that if they start stealing and what have you? Well, Robert says, I was the victim of crime some years ago, and although the insurance covered it, well, you know how it is. Yes, I think I do. You know, you can have insurance for anything, can't you? I have insurance, fire, flood and all that. And yet, if my house was flooded, yes, the money's there, but still doesn't make it all right, does it? He says, I was a victim of crime some years ago, and although the insurance covered it, well, you know. He says, however, I cannot and will not support the chopping off of hands or any other physical abuse. I am not a do-gooder or someone whose life is ruled by being politically correct. It is the role of state to protect its people or course. But this violence towards criminals is an act of vengeance, and I will not stand for that. There are too many what-ifs in all of this. For example, what if the person has a drug addiction? Yes, so they should do something about that. Well, count yourself blessed that you had great parents that loved you enough to lay the foundations of the man I am proud to call a friend. That's very nice of you to say that. What if there was a mistake by the police? Now that wouldn't be a first, would it? What if you spent your life working hard and yet saw that your family needed something, and for that tiny moment in time you fell to the temptation? Robert says, of course I could go on and on, but I won't, not this time. At what point does the victim become the bad person? By that I mean, if they are not shown right from wrong, they are at risk of becoming bad. Count your blessing, my friend, as do I, that I was raised well. Oh, I was raised very well by two of the loveliest people who I wish were here now for friends and listeners to United Kingdom Talk to meet. You would have loved me, Mum and Dad. I find this from you hurtful in that it is not the kind man that you are, or rather that I feel you to be. I know there are going to be loads of right-wingers out there calling me all sorts of names, and to them I say, let he that is without sin cast the first stone. And that's from Bob the Viking. No, Bob, you say right at the beginning of your email there, Chris, if you decide not to broadcast this email, it's up to you. No. Everyone deserves the right to a reply of anything that we talk about here on the show, and that's yours, which I can completely understand. What I'm saying is that, you know, people are hurt by people who go around and steal their belongings. All right, maybe not the first time then. If someone steals something, should you chop off their hands that first time? Or the second or third? Because more people are being hurt, aren't they? More people are being hurt by the theft that's going on. They don't seem to be able to stop themselves. We agreed to differ there on that one, Bob, I think. All right? Please feel free. You know, you don't have to agree with any of the comments that I make on this show. No one has to agree on anything. come back to me. I'm happily read your email out. Happily read your email out. As long as there's no sort of obviously not you, Bob. As long as no one comes through with anything that's like racist or anything like that. I can't stand racism. Can't stand that at all. It was interestingly, obviously, on similar lines. Just before I came to do the show today, I was just watching the BBC News, and they were making a big thing about this guy. I can't think of his name now. I've got it written down in there, but we haven't got time to go and get that bit of paper now. There's a guy who's just become one of the managers of a football club here in the UK. Blackburn Rovers was the football club, and he's black. And they're saying on the news, yes, this is our first black football manager. And I'm thinking, what's that got to do with anything? Why is that an item of news? If you're going to break down these barriers, you've got to stop referring to people like that. Haven't you? Why is that big news? As far as I'm concerned, it's just another person getting the job. He was clearly the best man for the job, so he got it. The fact that he was black, white, yellow, green, blue or whatever is neither here nor there, is it? We need to stop saying he got that because of that, he got that because of that. Oh, yes, and it's like the American president. He's going to be the first, possibly the first black president. So? It's just another person. Doesn't matter about your colour, does it? Time to go. Time to go. I did have a little email in from Suko. Guess what? Run out of time, Suko. And Susan as well, talking about global warming, all coming up on the next show, okay? Thank you as always for joining me. Do feel free to drop us an email. It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. See you on the next show. Bye-bye now.